Welcome to another video. Today we're going to check out the game state controller. Now the game state controller determines what state the game is in when we transition from one scene to the next. This is especially useful when you have additive scenes like I have over here on the left. And these objects within the scene will behave differently depending on what state the game is in. So we have the game state controller in our core systems. Now, just for your reference, the core systems and game systems are always persisting, whereas the main menu and everything below it will change based on what part of the game we're going to be in, whether it's the main menu, playing, game over, or we're loading somewhere in between. So the game state controller, as we can see here on the right, has got a state. And this is just for us to have a look. In fact, I've only made this public for now so that we can actually see what it is. And we can see there's a whole bunch of different things. We do not want to be modifying it here. We want that to be done with the handlers. So over here, we have the main menu handler. And it's just a very simple object with a script that sits within the scene. As soon as the scene is loaded, it fires off in whether it's awake, start, enabled, whichever you want to use. And it will then tell the game state controller, hey, I am this scene, I've loaded up, change your state to this. And that's how it's gonna be. So let's see what happens when we actually go into a different scene. We're gonna go into beginner, and you can see we have changed scene. Our core systems and game systems have not changed, but we don't have main menu anymore. We have content. And you can see the content handlers here. The content handler will then tell the game state controller, hey, we're in playing mode. We could probably name this better, but for now we've got main menu, loading, playing, and game over. Let's commit suicide over here, kill our character, and go into the game over. And you can see we're in game over. You would have seen on the right, this is now changed to the game over scene. So that is how we are changing the state. We're using a handler within our scenes. We're making sure that our game state controller persists between the scenes. You can do a don't destroy on load if you're not using additive scenes and you're just using a single scene type system. That is totally fine. And your handler will just be called in a very similar fashion. You would have it like this. When the scene loads, fire off the handler, and it's all good. So let us quickly jump into what the game state controller looks like. This is our enum. As you probably saw when we're selecting the game state, we have none, main menu, loading, playing, game over. None is great to have, great for debugging, so you know that, hey, if it's stuck on none, why is it stuck there? I like to use that as default just to help me develop faster. The game state controller is a singleton, so everything to do with awake and destroy and instancing, it does all that. I'm not going to go into the details of that at all over here. I have another video for it. Feel free to check it out. So we have the game state's current state. That's what we hold over here. We just give some kind of default value. This is just a public accessor to our current state, and we have a public method called setState. This is what the handler is going to be calling. It is going to feed it a new state. We're not going to do anything if the current state is still the same state, as in there is no change. Don't do anything, don't fire off events, do not tell other systems, hey, start up again for that scene. We want that. Current state equals the new state. We're just binding the current state if it is changed. And then we just determine, hey, what state are we in? And based on what state we're in, we are going to fire off an event. We're using our event bus for this. I have another video on that if you do want to have a look at what I mean by the event bus. For your use case, you could probably even use unit events or C# events. It's up to you. The idea is that we're firing off an event for other systems to then react to it. Now, before we have a look at what an example of that looks like, let's look at the handler. The handler is very simple. On awake, it does a thing. You can use start, you can use enabled. It's up to you what you want to use for this. Rather, what's the life cycle method? For us, we use it on awake because we know that the game systems and the core systems remain active no matter what. So we can afford to use awake and not have to worry about anything else. Now the game state controller will then be fetched through its instance. We're going to set the state and we're going to feed in, because this is the main menu handler, we're just going to feed in the main menu game state. That's it. It will then hit this guy. It will go, hey, I'm in the main menu, fire off the main menu event. And here's an example of something that uses that event. You can see our object pooler has got several different subscriptions to the main menu, the loading state, the playing, the game over, because it has got just a string-based rebuild pooling for the different game states, so that we have a set of objects in the pool for one state, and then when we transition to another scene, we do not want to bring all this extra garbage with us, because then we have to handle how we're enabling and disabling those. We're just going to scrap it all. We're going to rebuild the pool with the objects we want in that specific game state. So we have a really good control of what is actually going on in that current scene, and there's nothing from another scene that's going to come across with us and start breaking things. Very handy. As you can see, it's pretty much exactly what I told you. It's nothing fancy. It is straightforward and it gets the job done. And that's it. If you've made it this far, that's all you need to know. I'm just going to go a bit of rambling and have a look at what other systems actually use this. So we have the score manager that has got some different behavior based on whether we're in the main menu or playing. You can see that in the game over, the score manager does not get any state changes, because when we go from playing to game over, we want the score to persist. So that's an example of a use case on how you can use the system. We have a whole bunch of other things, post-processing, our different managers, the player inputs, changing the inputs based on what scene you're in. We know in the main menu, it's just UI input, so we can disable all the movement input systems. We don't have to worry about those mappings at all. That's pretty much some ideas for you. Hopefully this is handy and this helps get to just better architecture and better design, and just making your object lifecycle a little bit more predictable and easier to work with, especially when you start incorporating more and more scenes. That is the game state controller. If you've enjoyed this content, feel free to hit that like, subscribe for more, because I do try to push out weekly content. It's not exactly on a cadence that I can promise every single time, but I do try. And hopefully this stuff is stuff you enjoy. We like to go from beginner to some advanced concepts, so definitely feel free to stick around for more of that moving forward. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.